Okay, this is going live now. This is Mr. and sir, I apologize if I butcher your name. Fong Sebon Fanmixay. And you're charged in warrant number 2021 WA 18798 with committing the offense of arson in the second degree. You're also charged in warrant number 2021 WA 18799 with committing the offense of criminal trespass.
Officer Hill, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Fan Mixay will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Hill, Clayton County Police Department as a patrol officer.
And ma'am, how long have you been with the Clayton County Police Department?
Since March of this year.
Were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on November 2nd of 2021?
Yes, I was.
Did you respond to 6065 Old Dixie Highway in reference to a fire call?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us what is at that address?
It is an old, abandoned, what appears to be like some kind of strip mall. I think it used to be a gas station, but they kind of put different suites in there, but the suites are not occupied.
When you arrived on scene, officer, who did you make contact with?
Officer Cox.
And what did Officer Cox relate to you that what happened?
He had an Asian male that was standing in front of him, and the Asian male had informed him that he had started a fire inside of one of the suites, which are not numbered, to make food and stay warm.
Is the Asian male, is that the defendant that is here today before you?
Yes, who, I can't say his name.
Okay.
For Savong.
Okay. Did Mr. Fongsaban Famixay, if that's how you pronounce the name, and I apologize, sir, if I know I'm butchering your name. Did he indicate whether or not he was living at this location?
He didn't indicate that he lived there. He said that he was inside of the location. He did say that he was homeless.
Okay. Was the suspect taken into custody?
Yes, he was. He was taken into custody by Officer Cox, but then he was transferred to my custody, and I took the case.
Okay. Was the gentleman searched?
Yes, he was searched prior to getting into the back of my patrol vehicle. There was another male officer present that searched him. And when he did search him, he had 2 lighters on his person.
Did he indicate whether or not he used these lighters to start the fire?
He had advised Officer Cox that he had started the fire with the lighter prior to.
Okay. When the suspect made those admissions, had he been read his Miranda warning?
No, at that time, I don't believe that he was in custody. Officer Cox arrived on scene prior to me. So when I got there, they were still just having a conversation. He wasn't read his Miranda until after he was placed in cuffs and in the back seat, and the fire lieutenant wanted to talk to him.
Did the owner of the building or manager or somebody come to the scene?
No, they did not. We've had issues up there before. I've tried to contact them on numerous occasions. I'm not sure that the number that we were able to get off Google is even the right number for the business, but I've never even gotten a phone call back from Pretty Investors, who owns the property.
Okay. Were you able to Are you able to give us a description of the damage that was caused from the fire?
So pretty much where the fire was, there was a black, almost like a char mark in the floor. And they had what appeared to be maybe pieces of building materials, like maybe plywood that had been a little bit broken up, and that had been burnt as well. But everything else that was in there, most likely, I believe, came from other people that had been living in there as well.
Were you able to determine the amount of damage as far as cost?
No, we were never able to get in contact with anybody who owned the establishment to get an estimated cost of damages.
Okay. Were you able to determine from your investigation whether or not Mr. Fungzavon had any authority to be on the building, to be in the building?
No, we were not able to determine if he had the proper authority to be in the building, but he said that he was homeless. When I did speak to him, he did say that he would just leave. And I told him, you know, at this time, you're not going to be free to just leave until we're done with our investigation. So, but we had numerous people that are in there because the building was not secured at all. So anytime I get a call there, it's pretty much always someone in there that says they were just sleeping in there. They needed somewhere to stay warm for the night. And in the morning, they just pretty much leave.
Okay. Did this happen in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Pleasant?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Officer Hill, you have not spoken to the owner, correct?
That is correct.
So you don't know whether or not my client had permission to be in that property?
That is correct.
And with respect to the arson, the basis of that is that you saw a black char mark on the floor?
That is correct.
And what was the size of this char mark?
I would have to say, I'm sorry?
What are the dimensions of this char mark?
Maybe between like 12 to 14 inches.
And was the fire department called out?
Yes, they were.
And the only damage that you saw consisted of what was on the 12 to 14 inches on the floor?
It was on the floor, and also there was some material that had been burned. Looked like building materials.
And specifically, what did my client say to you with regards to the fire?
I didn't speak to him really in regards to the fire. Like I said, there was another officer that responded first that had spoken to him. So it was pretty much, you know, the officer advised me what he had told him.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay.
There's no additional questions, and the state rests.
Okay. Any evidence, Ms. Pleasant?
No, Your Honor.
All right, give me a second. Y'all have me, I gotta pull the book out now. Okay. Any argument?
I do have argument, Your Honor. I would
Okay.
ask,
Please open it.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Pleasant, go ahead.
I'm sorry. First and foremost, I'd ask that the criminal trespass be dismissed. The officer testified more than once that she hadn't spoken to the owner, so she is not aware whether or not my client actually had permission to be on that property, which appears to be the basis of the criminal trespass warrant that she's taken out. So I'd ask that that be dismissed. With respect to the arson, I'd ask that that be reduced to arson in the third degree. There's no estimate of the damage. She said it was 12 to 14 inches burned on the floor and some building materials. So we do not know the value that is required. Whether or not this value is extensive. It doesn't appear to be, it may be $25 at the most, Judge. So I'd ask that that be reduced to arson in the third degree and that the criminal trespass be dismissed.
Ms. Freeman?
Thank you, Your Honor. We're asking that both charges be bound over, the arson in the second degree. Looking at the statute, we believe that based on the testimony of Officer Hill, that it certainly fits that. Regardless of how much, what the cost of the damage is, we still believe that there was enough to show the arson in the second degree. And as far as the criminal trespass, based on the defendant's admission that he was homeless and he was here in this location or started the fire to provide food and I guess warmth. And so he did not reside at that location, but was just taken up, staying there, I guess, because he was homeless. And so we certainly would ask that the criminal trespass also be bound over to Superior Court.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, so this is a close call to me from the standpoint of the testimony that the officer has not spoken to the owner of the property as it relates to this person's presence there, but there's testimony that the person said that they were homeless. So I think as I heard the evidence come in, I'm going to not bind over the criminal trespass charge. I'm looking at the statute as it relates to the arson. The arson charge is going to be bound over because there's information that there's an investment company that owns this property, Pretty Investment, and statute says that the property of another or in which someone has a security interest. So there's sufficient evidence to show that Pretty Investment has a security interest in this property. So I'm going to bind over the arson in the second degree charge, and I'm not going to bind over the criminal trespass charge.
Thank you, Judge. May Officer Hill be excused?
Yes, she
Thank
may
you.
be excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My last one is Lester.
Judge, if you can give me a moment, we will work on getting that officer ready.
Okay. So
Thank
just
you.
let me know when you're ready. Let's bring up Mr. Lust. You said Lester or Luster?
Lester,
Lester.
Judge. Harry
Luster.
Lester.
Let's bring up Mr. Luster. I'm gonna have to call Judge George back. So give me a second.
And Judge